Ladies and gentlemen, we have an ET Now exclusive for you. Nearly 2 years after we saw the PMC Bank come under a massive crisis, depositors facing all kinds of restrictions for getting their money out. A big step today with the banking regulator, the Reserve Bank of India, saying BharatPe and Centrum are the front runners for taking over PMC Bank. They will, however, have to meet certain conditions. Joining me now, live, is Ashneer Grover, the co-founder of the 3-year-old fintech startup BharatPe. It's almost a unicorn. It's a big day also for fintech in India. Ashneer, welcome to ET Now. Thank you so much for giving us this interview. It's coming of age of sorts for Indian fintech when a 3-year-old fintech company along with Centrum is coming to the rescue of lakhs of depositors who have not been able to take all their money out yet from PMC Bank. My first question to you is, how long do you think all of this will take, the entire process, if you and Centrum jointly were to take over PMC Bank? What kind of conditions have to be met?
Thanks, Nantara. It's a great day for us. Unfortunately, it's a washed out match today. And I'm at Southampton. We're one of the sponsors of the World Test Championship here. But yeah, it's a great day for us. We've got the in-principle approval along with Centrum Group for the SFB license, right? Which is the first step, so to say, on taking over the PMC Bank. And we are very thrilled. The fact that RBI has done their diligence on us and found Centrum and us worthy of a banking license is in itself a big thing. I think in terms of from here on, I would think it should take 3 to 4 months to close things end to end, right? This is the first step. It's happened before 30th of June. I think within the next 3 months, we should complete the process of formation of the new banking entity and the merger of the undertaking that we're going to take over from the PMC. So very excited. And it's a big responsibility as well, because not only are we starting off a new bank and hopeful that the depositors there can enjoy their hard-earned money pretty soon.
So you're saying it could take about 3 months to entire close this process. And you know, Ashneer, talk to the viewers, talk to the depositors of PMC Bank who have been looking for a solution since 2019, when the original board of PMC had been superseded, where it turned out that nearly 70% plus of the book had exposure to the HDIL, that there were all kinds of problems with their loans and all of that. Talk to those depositors. What's going to happen to their money? Is this a bank that's going to need funds? Will you and Centrum have to capitalize this bank? Will you have to do fund infusion?
Absolutely. I think, see, we are committed to infusing new funds into the bank, and that fund will be utilized for building a new book out, right? So we are very committed. In fact, we are committed to the tune of $250 million plus in terms of our capital commitment towards the bank. I think in terms of the existing depositors, we have a very well negotiated and very well laid out scheme with RBI, which over time, as things unravel, we will put it out at the right point of time. I don't want to jump the gun. I think it's been it's a start of the end of the harrowing experience the depositors have had, and things will only look brighter from here on. And hopefully very soon, let's say within a quarter, we should be up and running, and it should be business as usual at the bank.
You mean within a quarter of closing this, BharatPe and Centrum taking over PMC Bank, within a quarter of that, the depositors will be free to do what they want with the money that they had in the bank. There will be, all those restrictions will be lifted.
Yeah, I think it's a as I said, we are hopeful that from here on, it's more logistics for us to take over the bank. And the first thing we want to do is make sure that everyone who's been waiting to dip into their money should get the first dip into their money, and just stick around with the new banking entity, because it's going to be very well capitalized, and therefore just give us a few days and we will sort of unravel the whole scheme of things along with RBI for you.
Of course, you talk about a $250 million capitalization also at the bank. Now, Ashneer, if I could ask you this one question. We talk about Indian fintech being so advanced, being way ahead of the West, way ahead of the developed economies as well. BharatPe is a 3-year-old fintech. A lot of your early investors, incidentally, we had one of them on the channel earlier, Anuj Gulecha, have exited with 80x returns, all of that. What does this mean for fintech at large?
I'm not thinking too much into it. I think, it's always great to be among the first or do things first or before anyone else. I just feel responsible and a lot more responsible and hope we do a good job. Because if we do a great job of building a good bank here, I think that will give a lot of confidence to the regulators and the public at large that fintechs here mean serious business, right? They're not cash burning startups. They are very serious business and they're here for good. So it's a big responsibility on my shoulder, and hopefully I should come through.
And how will some of the synergies are obvious. You have always said how you want to be in the business of lending to merchants. That is your primary business. So having PMC, what is that going to mean for BharatPe? And what is it going to mean having BharatPe for the existing depositors and existing clients of PMC?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think having a bank license of our own allows us to do a lot more products, both on the lending side and deposit side. Essentially, if you see the trend world over, it's about the digital banks or challenger banks becoming more and more the norm, right? And our attempt here would be to put out products and mostly digital products, which make a lot more sense to our merchant base and are much superior in proposition than any of the other banks are putting out right now. And that's what we are sort of committed to. For the existing depositor base of PMC, of course, the first thing it means is the bank coming out of the woods, right? And a lot of uncertainty going away for them. And also they enjoying all the new suite of products which we already have for our merchants, and an additional suite of products which we will build for consumers. They will also enjoy those. So it will be a very, very different experience. I know PMC was a cooperative bank. From being a cooperative bank to being a completely digital first bank where everything can be accessed on the phone, on the app. So that's the transformational experience that we're excited about delivering to both the existing customers and the new customers.
BharatPe, of course, has been built on UPI. UPI has been, applauded all over. There's so many fintechs like yourselves that are doing business based on UPI. Now, if you look at the branches that PMC has, primarily, of course, in the state of Maharashtra and all of that, will you need all of these branches, or is your branch going to be the mobile phone?
Yeah, I think everyone's branch eventually is a mobile phone, right? So that's as true for a Kotak and an HDFC bank as it is for a potential bank that we are going to form. So I think the world is moving towards lesser interaction with people in the branch and more interaction through a computer or through an app with the system, right? But having said that, all the existing branches we are going to take over and take a call on them as we lay out our business plan, right? So it's going to be a combination of both physical branches and a digital app to start with. But I think the future is all digital for everyone.
I don't know what the banking landscape will look like for 10 years from now, but actually, this is your, if I could say so, the second acquisition we're all hearing about. There was, of course, Payback earlier. That's to do with loyalty, rewards, all of that. But with PMC coming under the fold of BharatPe as well, what is it going to mean for person-to-person lending, for person-to-merchant lending, especially on the UPI platform?
I think, lending is going to become big on UPI platform itself, right? I think credit on cards is a story of the past and a story of the West. I think the big story in India for the next 10 years is going to be credit on the phone, right? And for me, credit on the phone means credit on back of UPI. So I think, we are most probably entering the next wave of credit growth and real credit penetration in India. Which rides on the UPI platform as against the historical Visa, MasterCard, RuPay credit platform. It's the future looks bright from where at least we are seeing it.
Future looks bright. Ashneer, you did do a fundraise recently. There are reports that you're going to do another fundraise. Is that correct? And will you need to do one, especially with the PMC takeover, if it were to happen?
We have been very prudent with our cash. So just to give you complete clarity, we have raised $233 million equity over 4 rounds so far. And we have only utilized 70 million out of it. So essentially my Series C and Series D money, I still have in the bank, right? So technically I don't need to do another round for anything. In fact, the round we did back in December 20, was to show our commitment and seriousness towards the PMC bid, right? But having said that, and you know me, right? I think I will ensure that we are very adequately capitalized at all points of time. Let me leave it at that.
Okay, I can read between the lines. Ashneer, we're going live on social media, and I'm seeing so many comments that are coming in. So once again, on their behalf, they want to know, will you, when the takeover is done, how quickly can the restrictions be lifted? There is currently a cap, a withdrawal cap that exists of 1 lakh rupees for depositors.
So Nayantara, let me commit this. We're very serious about getting the bank up and running, right? And to sort of, it is priority number 1 for me, right? It is not to get PMC up and running and to get the depositors' money back to them is the main priority for both me and Jaspal as we get the bank up and running. So that is the task number 1 to be done, and it will be done before anything else.
Okay, and do you think it'll have to be in a phased manner? Because, you don't want to run on the bank either.
No, I think we are going to do it in a very scientific manner, right? And we will detail it out, right? I think you will see a very different, studied, experienced management running the bank. And the whole task that we have in our hand is to reinforce the trust which has been lost. So you will see a very studied way of doing things and a very consistent way of doing things. And that's why I don't want to jump the gun on that. When we lay out the plan, we will completely stick to it, and you will see it played out.
Now that you'll have a license as well, Ashneer, that's the gold and the platinum, right? And like you talked about at the beginning, the banking regulators, the financial regulators, understanding the role of new age companies and fintech. Is this the trend that we are likely to see, where we're going to see fintech companies apply for small banks? They've already started doing it, but this is the future. And will you look at other such opportunities too?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. See, if you want to be a challenger bank, you have to be a bank first, right? And you can't challenge something without being at the same pedestal, right? So I think hopefully it is the start of a new generation of banking in India. And hopefully a few years down the line, we can look back at this as being the inflection point in things. But having said that, we still have a lot on our hand. We have to deliver well, and I am being very, very responsible here and take on the responsibility to make sure we deliver on PMC Bank, so that not only we grow as a business, but we are also opening door for other fintech.
Before we let you go, and I know the match is washed out, of which BharatPe is sponsoring and all of that, the final of India and New Zealand. We really appreciate you joining us all the way from Southampton. What's in it for BharatPe? You, of course, get to be a bank, but are you going to have all the products and services that we today understand with a bank? I understand the future, the banks may look very different and all of that, but immediately, what kind of services, products are we likely to see?
Yeah, so I think from a BharatPe perspective, I think the immediate product that you would see once we have taken care of all the depositors, existing depositors, that is a default bank account along with every QR that we put out, right? So today we have millions of merchants. We are settling money into one of their bank accounts overnight. The idea here is to give them a savings account or a current account, which they can use as the default bank account for themselves. So I think that's the missing piece in our arsenal, and that's the first thing we're going to put out.
Ashneer Grover, thank you so much for joining us. This is, of course, a big day for you, for BharatPe, and for the Indian fintech ecosystem, the startup ecosystem at large, where you're seeing a 3-year-old fintech, along with Centrum, rescuing lakhs of depositors who have been stuck since 2019. It's the coming of age of fintech. The future of banking is almost here, ladies and gentlemen. Ashneer, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us live all the way from Southampton. Pity the match is washed out.
Thanks, Santara.